Alright, welcome back to the Western Hunting Gateways YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of you know Idaho changed their system this year. They're no longer doing around 15 to 17,000 deer tags for the entire state. They've split it up into different units, and that's changed a lot for this system. A lot of those areas are already sold out, and I think that impacts what a lot of people's plans are for Idaho, because the unit that people are used to hunting might have actually sold out within the first week now, and they might not be able to hunt those units. They did this as kind of a way to address the overcrowding issues that they perceived existed from kind of the hunter survey results. A lot of people complained about overcrowding, so they said, well, we won't give out 15,000 tags and then let everyone pretty much hammer the Central Mountains, which was happening. A lot of non-residents were coming and hunting the Central Mountains areas, so now they've got it restricted on different areas based on the population in those areas. So I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over the different quotas and then see which ones have actually sold out already, and then I'm going to include some information based on the harvest stats, like 4 point or better harvest stats, where those areas are, and then I'm going to go over some of the population estimates that Idaho publishes for the different areas. So this is going to be a pretty quick one, but I thought it was pretty important to release this one now when I still could, because there's still tags available at this point, and that might not be true 2 weeks from the time this is aired. But thank you guys for being here. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is actually how the tag allocations changed. So in past years, there has been a quota for the entire state set around, I think it's 15 to 17,000. But now they've actually split it up by units. So you can see the individual units and their individual unit quotas running down here. These went on sale, I think, in December of 2020, and it now being, I pulled these remaining quotas on the 22nd of February. So since they've switched the system, there's going to be a lot of units that get sold out quicker. So as we're going through this, for example, so in Idaho, the way they number it is number 1 starts up here, and then the highest number, something around 78, finishes down here. So it kind of goes counterclockwise going this way. There's some 60s up here, but lower numbers are up here, like 1 through 10 is here, and then the highest numbers, the 70s, are down here. But as we go through, 1 through 4 are still available. These are hitting mainly whitetails because this is mainly whitetail habitat. But if we go down and see the first major stuff that's sold out, like 10 through 11, kind of this transitional stuff, these ones are still primarily whitetail harvest-based units, but they even sold out. Once you get down, it looks like 13 through 21, so this kind of whole region here as we're transitioning into mule deer habitat, that's pretty much entirely sold out. Then we go down 25 through 30, more of that. I think 25 through 30 is actually towards this side. 22 is actually still available, and that's a pretty good unit from what I've heard. Maybe it has a lot of wilderness areas that restrict the access, but that one's still available. But a lot of this whole region here is sold out. Continuing down, there's a couple, 31 through 32A it looks like. Maybe that's some of the ones in here, I believe. Those are still available. But then we go down through 33 through 37A. I think those are on the other side. I think those ones are here. Those are all sold out. So a lot of these prime units in the past that people have been hitting based on that sort of unlimited quota of 17,000 tags are actually sold out 2 months into the buying process this year. What we do still have available that's kind of good, though, is looking at 58 through 66, is some of these mid ones down in here. These are pretty decent open country units, so those are still available. But then it gets spotty as we head towards the 70s. 70 through, looks like 72 are available. I think those are the ones in here. But then the big ones, the 74 through 78, these ones are all sold out already. So tags are selling out quickly this year. That's why I wanted to kind of quick record this video and then drop it, just to show how much has really changed in Idaho this year and how fast tags are selling out versus in the past. Last year they sold out relatively quickly. They were sold out. They went on sale in December again. They sold out by June. That was the quickest that had happened. But this year, since they changed the whole system, a lot of these units that people have been looking at and would hunt typically every year in the past are now going to sell out within potentially the first month. Next year when I do this video, I plan on looking at it the week after the tags actually open for sale, and then see what actually sells out that first week. Alright, so from there I'm going to get into really quick looking at the population for a lot of these management areas. So Idaho apparently splits their units up into, it looks like about a dozen or so different management areas, and then some of them it gives a population estimate because I think they survey some of these units. These ones in here up top, they don't survey because this is way too dense of vegetation to get anything accurate based on surveys. These ones in here, they said were low density, and that kind of prohibited surveying. But then I'm actually kind of surprised they don't survey this one, the Oahe one here. And then actually, oh, what's the other one? Some of these in here too. I think this one is Portneuf, if that's how it's pronounced. But that one they could probably survey as well. It looked like from their management plan they kind of intended to get some of these more reliable population estimates. But from what we do have, Bannock starting down here, this one, I think that's actually still available. That's the 71 through 73, I think. That has 21,000 mule deer estimated to be in that herd. Going over to Caribou in here, that's 2,000. This one I think is one of the ones that is actually sold out. So I think Caribou, you've already missed your chance to hit this year. Island Park up here, 4,800. This one is still available, but if you look at it, population estimate is really low. This is a very low density herd. There's actually a couple rut hunts for muzzleloader in here that are unlimited, but the success rates on these hunts, based on the very low population density, the success rates are pretty low as well. Mountain Valley number 4 here, I think this actually includes Unit 50, or one of the ones by Unit 50 up here. So you're actually getting, I think this mountain range here is the highest elevation in Idaho. So you're getting very high country in that unit. But that one, 11,500. So that's actually a pretty decent size herd. Going back down this way to Palisades. This is kind of the same thing as 3. This is less than ideal habitat. This is a very low density herd, and you can see that at about 3,000 in this area. And then the South Hills. This is another relatively good open country area for mule deer. I think this one might still be open, but you'd have to check and see what units are in there. I think that's some of the 50s, but that's another 11,000 deer herd, so that's a relatively good population in there. Like I said, from the management plan, it looked like they were trying to flush out some of these other population estimates, maybe looking at this one here, this area here, and then I think, I know they said up here they were looking at hopefully getting viable population estimates for these areas in the future. And then I'm going to wrap up with our final kind of slide here on some of the better trophy areas, or at least harvest-wise. So I went on their site and I looked at trophy areas, or areas that they were harvesting 5 point or better in the percentages. I don't quite know how they got 50% for 66A, and then how it's completely missed on the 4 point or better chart. It could have something to do with the way they're looking at the two different deer species. This is including whitetails and mule deer. But then again, looking at 66A, that's not a big whitetail unit. So what it is claiming, according to their site, is that 66A, which is somewhere down in here, is 50% 5 point or better. So I'm not quite sure about how reliable these are, but it at least gives us an idea of the quality of deer that are in those areas. Then the other thing that I wanted to point out from this too is there is some overlap. So there is some units that we do have a fair amount of certainty that it's producing 4 point and 5 point or better consistently. So one of those is unit 17 in here. It's claiming 45% 5 point or better, and then 78% 4 point or better. That one's right in here. This unit has a lot of wilderness area, and the harvest is actually split 50-50 between whitetail and mule deer. But it is a big harvest. All these units that I took this data from, they harvested over 50 deer in, because I didn't want any kind of unreliable units where they harvested like 3 deer and it gives you something like 100% 5 point or better, or something weird like that. But unit 17 shows up on that. Another one that shows up is 19 on both of these lists. 20 shows up on both of these lists. So this whole area, kind of right above the central mountain zone, this is a lot of rugged wilderness areas, and this is right on the transition between whitetail and mule deer habitat, although 19 and 20 are starting to favor the mule deer more. And then 37 also shows up on this. This is one of the kind of the higher elevation areas in Idaho, right by, I think the highest elevation is unit 51. It's either 51 or 37. But these are, right around that 11,000 foot range for these mountain ranges. But I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea for some of the higher antler point areas based on the harvest percentages in Idaho, and illustrate that there is some overlap and there are some reliable indicators on where you can find these higher point areas, higher antler point areas. And then there's some in here too that it's like 25 might not show up on both lists, but in 25 it's, according to Idaho's harvest reporting, 71% of the deer in 25, which is one of these ones in here, I believe, is is still 4-point or better. So if you're looking for 4-point or better, you have a good indicator of where you can go to effectively get over a 50% chance, at least in theory, for harvesting that 4-point or better deer. But that just kind of wraps it up. I wanted to do a quick episode, go over the nuances, show you guys how quickly the tags kind of sold out in a lot of areas in Idaho this year, especially with that change, and then just give you an idea of the population for some of these areas in Idaho, and then what quality of deer is being or have been harvested in Idaho for a lot of these units. So look to this kind of episode in the future. I plan on doing this every year. Like I said, hopefully the week after Idaho puts those tags on sale. I was out hunting Nebraska, so I wasn't able to do that. But in the future, I'd like to have something prepared so that it can get it out quickly and we can look and see, okay, within the first week, these tags were really going. So these are the really high demand tags in Idaho. But thank you guys for tuning in.